Episode 127 with the great Mike Garafolo here on a Thursday. His weekly appearance brought to you by Hartley & Hartley Insurance, which is family-owned and operated since 1978. They promise honesty, fairness, and integrity, all things that Mike stands for. You can contact Jamie Hartley at 253-565-8700. Also, Zogs on Fox Island, great place to grab a cold beer, watch the game, hang out with friends. New spring and summertime hours at Zogs on Fox Island, Monday through Thursday, 3 to 10, Friday through Saturday, 12 to 10, and Sunday, 12 to 9. Visit Zogs on Fox Island, Facebook and Instagram for more information. Well, if you're watching today's episode, you've got quite the backdrop. Where that doesn't look like New Jersey.
You don't think it gets sunny here and blue skies?
No. I don't think it looks like that. That's what I don't think it looks like. Where do we find you? Where are we vacationing?
We're not vacationing. This is our house. We bought a shore house. We bought right after Sandy. My wife and her aggressive mentality. She's like, everybody's going to be running away. Let's run in. And she was very wise to do that. And so we got this piece of land at a very good number. We've since renovated and we're enjoying the fruits of our labor.
Yeah. Do you find yourself? Do you guys go there often? Is this like an every weekend type of thing?
Oh yeah. Yeah. As a matter of fact, we're putting a second setup at our place, a second camera, so that I can do my stuff from here. Because we spend so much time here. I wind up driving back north just to do like 2 minutes of TV. So it's like an hour 15 in the car one way, just to get in there, do 2 minutes, and then drive right back. So I was like, if I just had a camera here, no problem, right?
Hey, congratulations, by the way. So what? So the Insiders, it's now every single day, 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern, every single day now?
Yeah, pretty much. At least through the start of training camp, and then we'll see what happens after that. But we've taken that nightly time slot, and it's vacation time for all of us, pre-planned vacation, so you're not going to see all 4 of us all at once. On most occasions, you will occasionally. I think next week Voltron is coming together for a few shows. But yeah, tonight it'll be just Judy Batista and I. Tom and Ian are off. We've got our cast of reporters and analysts that are joining us as well. So yeah, we're pretty much Monday to Friday.
Okay, the episode I watched the other day, you guys that was the one with Josh Allen a few days ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What is what's the take league wide on Josh Allen? Like he's you feel like he is a polarizing figure among the media and fans. Like it's like either like a Josh Allen fan, or then there's people out there that want to like crap on Josh Allen for some reason because he's not as good as everyone makes him out to be. Did you get that sense with people with him?
Yeah, I think there's people that see him make critical mistakes at critical points in the game, that probably focus on that and remember that, and that's what sticks with them, which is fair to a certain degree. Like, that's when you've got to make the plays to lead your team to victory and cement your legacy as a clutch quarterback. So sometimes he's had those moments. I think he's also it's a lot of the Diggs body language that we've seen over the last couple of years, which he won't have to deal with any longer. I actually give him credit for how he handled the way things were with Stephon Diggs the last couple of years. His answers were always great. It was never really coming down on Diggs, but also never really taking the other side as well. So he walked that line really well from a leadership standpoint, I thought.
What's there like? You always hear this with him, right? Oh, his window is closing. His window is almost over. Where is his window at? Where are they? Can they be a team that can ultimately challenge and really push Kansas City and knock them off their AFC perch?
I go back to when the Giants traded away Odell Beckham, and they pushed the notion behind the scenes that they were going to be, addition by subtraction. They were going to be better because they're going to be able to run their offense, and it wound up being a whole bunch of nonsense. But I think that depending on who else is there, there's a certain truth to that, or a certain understanding that you can get to from an offensive standpoint, if you've got a bunch of guys that you spread the ball to and not feel like you've got to force the ball to a guy. Not to say they forced it to him, but they knew that they had to feed him. They knew they had to keep him healthy, or happy, excuse me. So this will be a little different. There's not really that alpha type guy. They've got a bunch of other guys that have been around, Curtis Samuel, Mac Hollins, who apparently has been really good so far for them. Keon Coleman, the rookie, is not going to come in demanding anything or acting a certain way. So I think it could almost be, the outside you're looking in, you're saying, okay, they lost one of the premier pass catchers that's going to hurt them. Maybe it does help them in the end.
But I think when you look at him right now, I mean, from an offensive standpoint, like, is there, besides him, who scares you?
I mean, there's talent. James Cook, certainly out of the backfield. The offensive line is going to be good. You know that. Dawson Knox, what he's able to do. Dalton Kincaid as well. I mean, that's a formidable offense. I'm not, I don't look at them and say, boy, they've really taken a step back. I think it's a formidable offense. And frankly, you're going to see some things that they weren't able to really unveil last year with Joe Brady taking over midstream. It's going to be his first year as their offensive coordinator. I think they're right there in the mix in the AFC East for sure. I think the Jets are there as well. Miami certainly could be there. It's going to be a really interesting division. I did this exercise the other day, looking across the NFL. There's really not that one real weak division where you could be like, boy, that's a crappy division. You could say it about the NFC South again, but Atlanta got better. I think Tampa's still really good. I'm actually really bullish on Tampa, to be honest with you. I think there's NFC West. We were talking about this last night on the Insiders. That's going to be a fascinating division. There are no gimmies in that division anymore. Not that there were really gimmies when you talk about Seattle and even the Rams, but you looked at Arizona as kind of a gimme. They're not a gimme anymore. They've certainly improved. So that's going to be a fascinating division as well.
Okay, so who is the challenge? When you look in the AFC, then who's the main challenger to Kansas City right now? Is it still Baltimore?
Dude, it might be the Chargers. Is
Really?
it that crazy to think? Yeah,
but
go ahead.
they got some good players, man. They raided the Ravens backfield,
and they're going to be well coached. Like Jim Harbaugh doesn't take long to get a team going. So that's like before I even get to the whole AFC, I kind of look at that and say, watch that team and this is the way I like to do it. You can go strength of schedule based on last year's record. That means not nothing, but it means very little to me. To me, I look at expected wins, and our Cynthia Freeland does a great job with her analytics and expected wins for moving forward. And you start to look at the schedules based on expected wins. Chargers got one of the, I never like to use the word weaker when it comes to the NFL. Chargers got one of the schedules where there's winnable games on that schedule. So I could see them starting to stack wins early and often.
Would you make an argument they had the best offseason, wouldn't you, with the Chargers?
I'd put it up there for sure. And it started with the hiring of Harbaugh. I don't think you're hiring Jim Harbaugh, and I've said this repeatedly. You're not hiring Jim Harbaugh for a decade, but you're hiring Jim Harbaugh for a half decade of really good football. That's what you're expecting. So, and again, it doesn't take him long to get off the ground either.
Yeah, I mean, I just think hiring Harbaugh, who was the hottest coach, was the number one coach out there that was going to be available. They go get Edwards, they go get Dobbins, they draft Joe Alt. I mean, he has already put his fingerprints on exactly the type of football team he wants. And you know what his track record was with San Francisco, what it was at Stanford, and what it was at Michigan. I mean, it's all the same. They're going to beat you up front, and they're going to run the ball down your throat.
And I think the big coup for them was getting both Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa back, because we looked at it and said one of those guys is going to be a salary cap casualty or a guy they're going to have to trade away. They got both of those guys to come back on pay cuts. I thought that was a fantastic job by them of making that happen, and with a chance to make the money back for those guys too. I thought that was a really good job by them.
What about Houston? I mean, there was a surprise step last year with Stroud and all that. What's their next step now? I mean, are they truly a contender?
On paper, yeah. But the only thing, and I'm not, I hate to kind of lump these guys together. Sometimes you get that coach with that first year right out of the gate, and he's really successful, maybe a little bit more than you expected, and then there's the dip, right? Now, a lot of times that happens, and I saw it. I remember it with the Jets specifically. Todd Bowles came out 10-6, I think, his first year, back when there used to be even numbers with the records, which is my pet peeve. And then there was that whole, well, we got to re-sign Ryan Fitzpatrick, and let's prop this roster up, even though we know we should probably take it to the studs and start over. And then they wound up sucking, and then they took it to the studs, and Todd never had a shot the rest of the way there. But that I've seen that happen before with coaches, that first year, and then it's like you got to sustain that success. Whereas a lot of times maybe it's better if you come out and you get 5 wins, 6 wins your first year, and then you build on the way up. There's no real hard and fast blueprint for it, but it's like, okay, they look great on paper. Now let's see how DeMeco Ryans maintains that. From all indications, he's been tremendous as a head coach, the way he's hit the ground running. So let's see if he can continue it.
Okay, so we talked about maybe the Chargers having the best offseason. Who's had the worst, do you think?
Oh, God.
And that's, I mean, or you want me to rephrase it? Because how about most underwhelming offseason?
I mean, I'm going through all the teams to kind of, it's almost like you think about the teams that did very little. But sometimes it's like the Cowboys, right? You go, oh, well, they did very little. Well, they've had to make financial decisions based on what they want to do going forward with these guys internally. And also, they've done a good job of drafting and developing their guys. So they got to lean on the draft. Great. Let them lean on the draft, So I don't, I'm going through.
What about the Giants?
What do you
think of the Giants offseason?
I would have thought that they would have done everything they possibly could have to get a quarterback. I think we're at the point now with Daniel Jones where you're just like, are you going to win a Super Bowl with Daniel Jones? Which is not to say that you had to, and they did try to get up into the top 3. It's not to say that you had to draft J.J. McCarthy, right? I understand that. You may say, well, this guy's not, Bo Nix, Michael Penix, these are not the guys. So if you don't feel that way, you don't have to do it. I'm not saying, but I just, okay, they got Malik Neighbors. They should be, better from an offensive weapon standpoint, but yeah, I don't know how they're that much better. I think they're somewhere between what they were the first year of Dable and what they were last year.
I mean, you lose your best offensive player to one of your rivals in your own division.
Yeah. I mean, by the way, when you asked me that question, that was one where, yes, it did come to mind, but then I thought they did need a weapon. They went out and got Neighbors, right? So you just, what, if I was going to assess the Giants offseason, I would say this. If you're going to guarantee me that John Mara is not going to fire both the general manager and the head coach, I would say their offseason was fine. But if you can't guarantee me that, I would say then, yeah, and guess what? If he would have communicated that to them, maybe they would have acted differently and said, hey, we got to go get a quarterback because we know what's coming here.
What's going on with? I saw you repost this. What is going on with the Players Association? Are they're going to overhaul the kind of the off season, like eliminate like on-field workouts with the voluntary workouts, and is training camp now not this year but next year? Is it going to start earlier now?
Yeah, TBD. I mean, that's something that's got to be worked out with the NFL, and this is from a reporting from our Tom Pelissero regarding the offseason program and making it more of one continuous swoop rather than the break between OTAs and training camp, which honestly, the players are feeling a certain way. I kind of like it as currently structured. So you basically would be on your break right now. There'd be nothing happening at team facilities. And then within the next couple of weeks, you'd come in and there'd be a longer ramp up into training camp. So you'd have your OTAs basically into the later part of June into early July leading into training camp. So again, it's more of a continuous thing. And, the thought is that's better for the players. It's better for their bodies. It's better for their ramp up. So you don't have that break, which, it's not like, I think we joked about this last week. It's not like the guys that would go drink a case of beer a day and smoke 3 packs of cigarettes and then come back. I mean, most of these guys are training. If not, they're going to get themselves hurt. They understand that. So most of the guys do a good job of continuing to work.
Can we have that NFL player come back? Can there just be somebody that comes back like that?
It's going to be broken in half like there was a movie, Not Another Teen Movie it was called, where they mocked all the teen movies, and one of them was, remember the movie Lucas? Throw it to Lucas? Yes. And they put the guy in, he's got the glasses, and they throw it to him down the field, and he catches the ball, and then he gets ripped in half, literally.
It's Corey Feldman.
Yeah, but do
you remember who the stud
was? I think it was Not Another Teen Movie. Hold on, I'm going to get back to that. But okay. I'm telling you, the parody movie of that was way better because the guy got literally ripped, like his torso got ripped off the bottom of his body. It was fantastic. No, who was the stud player in that movie?
I believe Charlie Sheen.
Oh, I thought you were saying it was a real
Yeah,
NFL player who was
no. The guy that played the football player, the high school football player in Lucas.
Yeah, I think you're right
Remember?
about that. Yeah.
Luca Plakia. That's what they called him, Luca Plakia. God, that's a great movie. I might have to dial that one back in. Have you ever jumped in that water? Can you jump in that water behind you?
No. No.
If you cannot swim in that.
No. If you do, a matter of fact, so the current, which way are we going right now? We're going this way. Current's going this way. The boat's going that way. Current's going this way. If you you can have a boat here, you can't have any kayaks, you can't have any jet skis, you can't have any anything other than what's and there's an Instagram account. People send it to me all the time. There's a bridge down there where these boats are almost biting it because the current in here is so strong. It's actually a man-made canal to connect the bay and the ocean. And so one time, this guy comes through with his daughter in a 2-person kayak. And man, they're flying this way. Like he's
This is
all
great.
smiles. So they go to turn around to come back this way. And my neighbor's yelling at them, hey, you can't go, hey, you can't be in the canal. And he can't hear us. He's waving, hey, how you doing? And so he goes, he'll figure it out. So they go to turn around to come back, and they're going backwards, right? Oh. And now they realize they're in a world of hurt. But the state troopers are right here. So the state trooper comes out, whoop, whoop, whoop. The sirens are going. Pull them over, bring them into there. You should have seen this. Like it was amazing because we all knew. Everybody over here is outside, and we all knew, and they had no idea. And the girl was like 12 years old, and I'm like, please don't let this girl capsize.
Well, you don't want anything bad to happen, but it is fun to sit back and watch other people in misery. It really is. Hey, so here's the thing. What I don't like about it. So these people, these coaches and these personnel people have families. It kind of screws it up for them, right? Like, especially when they're kids are in school. Yeah. And
that'll be a pushback. And I don't know, right? Like the players might say, well, we don't care about them. They don't care about us to a certain degree, right? Like, I mean, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that they're going to say that, right? And that's their part. But there is and I always wonder this. Because I know the hours that these coaches, even the guys that are like, oh, yeah, when you get your work done, go home and be with your families and all this. Like, no, there's still that pressure to be at the office too much. And there's, after the draft, I was trying to call a GM, and he texted me, he goes, hey, I'm in meetings. What's going on? I was like, the draft is over. What meeting are you in? Go home. Go be with your family. Like, I could speak to that guy this way. And he's like, no, it's rookie camp, so the rookies are coming in, so we're meeting with – and I'm like, man, it like really, truly never stops for these guys. No. So, and I don't, that's the business they've chosen, but their kids didn't. So you're right. I think that there's an element of that, and I would hate to have those families lose out on valuable time. Again, it would be, from the player standpoint, anybody proposing this would say it really isn't that much of a difference because the same time you would get, we would just move it. But I don't want to see that be taken away at a critical time of the summer where families are being together.
But even, I mean, I guess I mentioned like the player, or excuse me, like the personnel and the coaches, but also the players too. I mean, it affects like if they have a family, it affects them.
Well, the reason I mentioned the coaches and the team is because the players are the ones proposing this. Is why I said that.
Right. But I would even think like even them proposing it. There's got to be some in the union.
I'm with you.
Yeah, they're like, what are we doing?
I'm with you. I mean, it's not 100%. It's never going to be 100% opinion on something. So.
Hey, one last thing for you before we go. What are your thoughts? So the Guardian caps, right? They're going to be able, and if people don't know the Guardian caps, it's like the protective sleeve, I guess, you put over your helmet that a lot of the players wear during practice. My son plays tackle football, and there's teams that wear those in actual games. Not all, but some do. Some wear it. They're going to allow you to wear it in games this season, right?
Yeah.
They made that rule change.
Mm-hmm.
How many players do you think are gonna wear it? You think we're gonna see linemen? You think we're gonna see anyone do it?
There's always, remember the Chris Borland, the 49ers linebacker who retired after like 1 or 2 seasons or something like that. And I've heard about other guys in the league right now that are thinking about their long-term health and their long-term brain issues potentially or whatever. So. As long as there's those guys out there, and there's a couple of them, I think you might see a couple. I do. I haven't heard any. Yeah. I haven't really asked around and taken a poll or asked agents, have you heard about and maybe I should. Have you heard anything from any of your clients regarding this, whether they'll wear it or not? So, yeah, I haven't heard that from those guys just yet. But I would just say, if you're asking me, based on my experience of covering the league since we've done more research on the impact on the brain of NFL football, I would say that there's going to be a few there that would at least consider wearing it at this point and see how it goes.
Okay, so we're going to be able to catch you on TV tonight, 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern. The Insiders on the NFL Network. What do you guys got cooking here on Thursday's show?
We got Solomon Thomas
live on the show.
No, I got to head back north because we don't have the setup here yet. Solomon Thomas, defensive lineman from the Jets, going to join us. We're going to talk NFC East today. Judy Batista's on with me. Is Baldy on tonight? James Slater's on to talk Cowboys with us. I can't remember.
You're going to talk about the Cowboys, huh? Wow.
Well, it's funny. I did the promo at the end of last night's show. I said, tomorrow, for a change, we're going to talk Cowboys, because I love to make fun of it. I get it, But,
yeah, but I love to make fun of it, but then I get it at the same time. You wouldn't talk about them if like research or whatever told you that you need to talk about them.
I mean, listen, they're all over the place here in Jersey. I don't know how many you got out there, and you get the guy, and that can almost, before they say it, I can almost sense which ones, I don't have a disdain for them. I did when I was an Eagles fan, so I guess maybe that's still somewhere deep down inside of me. Yeah. But, I'll ask them, what are you, Giants or Jets? And there's this like half-second pause, right? And then I go, okay,
and
here it goes.
right away.
Cowboys, actually. And it's one of two answers. It's either I grew up in that time where they were killing it, which basically means I was a bandwagon, or my father was a big Cowboys fan. Those are the two answers.
Yeah. All right, we'll catch you tonight on the NFL Network. Mike joins us every Thursday, brought to you by Hartley & Hartley Insurance. Also, Zogs on Fox Island. Again, we release them all the time here at 1 o'clock, pucksports.com. All right, Mike, we'll talk to you next week.
You got it, pal. Thank you.